Cristobal made landfall over the weekend in Louisiana. NBC News correspondent Kerry Sanders joining me now from Biloxi, Mississippi. And my goodness, Kerry, the water where you are, tell us more about what conditions are like there where you are right now.
Well, it certainly has let up, but there is still remnants of this tropical storm. And I positioned myself here in Biloxi on the beach because if you look over my shoulder there, you see the pier. But what you don't see is the rest of the pier, because the storm surge that came in tore off a good portion of the pier and washed it down the beach about a half mile to a mile down the beach. And that's because the storm surge here was about 4 feet. The real concern, of course, right now is that this is moving north, and there's the potential for flash flooding, as they had here, as the water came in and went right over US 90, flash flooding in Tennessee and in Arkansas, Allison.
Yeah, Kerry, we've heard the reports over the weekend, flash flooding, even a tornado. We're showing images now of just neighborhoods flooded out. What is the cleanup looking like today for folks?
Well, the cleanup is slow going. I mean, for instance, right here in Mississippi, they're waiting for the State Department of Transportation to get in on US 90 to sort of move the sand that came in. They'll get some front-end loaders there. But you also mentioned the tornadoes. There were some water spouts, tornadoes, one tornado. And you got to remember the size of this storm, all the way from Florida over to New Orleans. There was one tornado that touched down in Orlando, and that caused a fair amount of damage, displacing about 50 people. Fortunately, nobody was seriously injured. But what you do have there is homes that lost their roofs, trees that came down on cars that flipped over, and of course the power outages. And so people are dealing with that. And when you've lost the roof to your house, it is a very slow return because, you know, you can't just go back home. Allison?
No, you sure can't. Kerry, we're looking at you standing there wearing a mask right now, which of course brings to mind the coronavirus. Some areas evacuated. The residents were told to seek shelter. Are there concerns that this storm could spread coronavirus cases and increase cases of the coronavirus?
Well, this is really about, I guess, a practice run for everybody. People were told, for instance, down in Grand Island, Louisiana, that they had to evacuate. And it's a good thing that people who were there sort of as visitors did leave, the tourists who were at fish camps, because most of that island was washed over. It was a big surprise. But they did not open shelters per se, the public shelters like going to the schools. But this was a good reminder to everybody that in this time of coronavirus, shelters will be very different. In fact, if you go to a shelter in the past, you would find yourself maybe in the gymnasium, cots spread out. Now, they're likely to open one classroom, another classroom, to try and have people socially distanced. But this is not going to be easy. And one of the things they're saying in Florida, in fact, they had a press conference today at the National Hurricane Center. One of the things they're talking about is that they're going to have to tell some people, think twice about evacuating. And that is the first time we've ever heard that in a hurricane season. It's usually get out. Now they're asking people to consider, do you think the structure you're in can withstand a Category 1, a Category 2? If you think so, you might want to stay put. And finally, they have a lot of those guns that we've seen people shooting to the head to see about the temperature. They've got a lot of them spread out now because when they do open shelters, they're going to check people's temperature with those little handheld devices. And if you have a temperature, they're going to direct people to what they call COVID-19 shelters. So there's a lot of complications this hurricane season, Allison. And unfortunately, the prediction is for 19 named storms. Look at this. We're 8 days into the hurricane season. For those who don't know, hurricanes and tropical storms get their names A, B, C. We're on Cristobal on the 8th day. So just consider what we're looking at right now, potentially for a very, very long hurricane season.
Yeah, feels very active already. Kerry Sanders in Biloxi, thanks so much.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.